Hey, what's up, Christopher? How you doing? Give me a second. I'm trying to get this thing set up. How's that coming across? Is that coming across good? Is the music too loud, or am I too loud? Can you guys hear the music good? Is that better? All right, let me know if that's a little bit better. I turned it down a little bit. All right, cool, perfect. There, I'll put the link in here if anybody wants to jump up on here. There you go. If anybody wants to jump in here, go ahead. So I wanted to do a test. I got this new iRig set up to run from my stereo to the computer, and I kind of wanted to test how it sounded coming through YouTube. So we're listening to Grip Incorporated in the background. If you guys haven't heard these guys, definitely check them out. This is from like 90, I want to say it was like 94, 95 when this came out. It doesn't say it on the back of it. But this was the band that Dave Lombardo started right after he left Slayer in the early 90s. It's kind of a mix of groove metal and thrash, and I've always loved it. They did 4 albums. This has always been my favorite, but I like all of them. And this just got repressed to vinyl for the first time. Originals were going for like $200-300 bucks. Yeah, it's an iRig. It's called the iRig Stream. I don't know if you guys can. I can't hold it up much more because of the cables. So I've got running from my headphone out on my receiver, running into here, and then it runs up to the USB. And then StreamYard does the rest. But yeah, here's the box for it. Yeah, it's IK Media that makes it. It took a lot of messing with, and I actually bought I've gone through a few different receivers trying to find the one that sounded the best, or not receivers, a few different interfaces, and I didn't like any of them until this one. But here's the box for it. And I want to say it was like 110, 120 bucks. The only thing I had to buy for it came with all the cables. Getting the negative 3.5 to the RCA, and I bought that off of Amazon for like $3 or $4. So hopefully it's coming across. It sounds really good on this end, so hopefully it sounds good for you guys. See who all's in here. Hey, what's up, James, Nick, let's see, Trevor. But you know, you guys watch me on the live streams. I like doing the live streams. There's not enough metal on the live stream, so there's very few of the live streams that play music that actually play metal. So I wanted to get a little bit of that going. I'll figure out a time in the evening, a night that there's not 7 other streams going on. You know, I don't want to cut off any of Patrick's streams because I like joining in on his, and there's a few other people I don't want to stream the same time they are. But like I said, the main goal tonight was to test things out, and seems like it's going good. So if you guys haven't grabbed it, like I said, this just got repressed. This is a red and black splatter version that came with the Obi. I think they only did 100 of these. However, I think they did a few thousand on black vinyl. It's a label called 7-inch. The label or the website 7inch.gr. You guys can see that, and it sounds fantastic. This was probably in my top 3 grails. I've always wanted this on vinyl. I bought this CD the day it came. I was really excited. I was a drummer at the time. Dave Lombardo was by far my favorite drummer. And as soon as I found out he was doing a new band outside of Slayer, I didn't pre-order it, but I bought it the day it came out. And I've loved it ever since. The follow-up Nemesis was really good, then Solidify. And I believe the 4th album, which was also released. Unfortunately, they only did this one in the final album. I believe it was just called, I can't remember. It may have just been Grip Incorporated. But it's an all-black cover. But they also did that one to vinyl too, and I just ordered it from Canada, so I'm waiting for that one to come in. Hopefully, Nemesis and Solidify get done as well. But again, this is the best album they released. Though I do love all of them. Yeah, I just saw Lombardo a couple months ago with Testament. And with Testament, and honestly, he didn't sound great. Now, it was only a few days into the tour, so it may be that he just wasn't completely familiar with the songs yet. But I saw them the year before with, Dark Angel. What's the Dark Angel drummer, guys? I can't think of his name right now. I do agree with you, Nick, as far as Slayer goes. So I saw Slayer in '94, maybe a year or so after Bostock took over. Even then, when he was young and at his peak, Bostock couldn't do the fills that Lombardo did. He took a lot of shortcuts, what is it? Seasons in the Abyss, that song. Paul Bostock couldn't play it at all. The main drum beat, but like the fills and stuff, which are super intricate on that, he just couldn't do it. And like I said, I love Lombardo. I've seen him a few times, and he's actually, sadly, he's kind of losing it a little bit. But are you talking about Mr. Bungle, Christopher, or is it a different album? Lombardo's done a lot of stuff though, so he did this. There was another band. It was like a progressive, almost like a progressive jazz band that he did after he left Slayer the second time. I'm gonna have to look up what it was. It was really good too. Unfortunately, they didn't release any of their stuff to vinyl. Let's see if I can find all the bands. So it's Film. So he did a band called Film when he left the second time, and the music for that was fantastic. He was playing like a 4 or 5 piece jazz drum, and it was killer. But the Phantomos, is that the one you're thinking about? No, that was the Melt with Buzz Osborne. I do have that last album he did with Suicidal is really good. What was it, like 2015 or 2016? I thought that was kind of a return for Suicidal with him on drums. I would love to see him with the Misfits. I've never seen the Misfits live, and I would love to see them. And I believe he's still, when they do shows here and there, I believe he's still playing drums with them as well. But he just couldn't keep up, unfortunately, with the Testament songs at this point. He didn't sound bad, and actually, it wasn't. Everybody else sounded good. Exodus sounded really bad at that show too. Gary Holt was off the entire night. Death Angel was by far the best that night. Death Angel was fantastic. It was still a good show, but I had just seen, like I said, I saw Testament the year before, and they just sounded a lot better before Juan Barlow joined. So maybe I'd like to hear from somebody that saw him recently, towards the later end of the tour. Like I said, he may have just been getting used to the songs again. He did sound good on the couple of songs that he wrote while he was in Testament back in the 90s, but the rest of the stuff, he was just kind of off a little bit. This is like my 5th time playing this in the 2 days I've had it. Hey, what's up, Justin? How you doing? Yeah, I was telling everybody else, they just this just got a repress about a month ago, and I got my copy a couple days ago, so I've been playing it nonstop. This one is yeah, they did 100 of them, so this is number 12 out of 100 on the splatter vinyl. And then they did a couple thousand on black vinyl. So if you like the sound of this, I mean, I think this is a must-have 90s album. I love this album. I found it by accident. What's the 4th album? I was listening to the 4th album. I was just kind of flipping through my collection, and I hadn't listened to Grip in a while. Yeah, okay. So the 4th album was Incorporated. So I hadn't listened to Incorporated in years. So I went ahead and pulled that one out. And it got me thinking about Grip again. No, Nick, for the iRig, I'm using the headphone out on my receiver. And I've got a 20-foot cable, and that's going into the iRig through the RCAs. So this is coming out of my receiver. I was going to originally do it I was going to run it from the tape out, and I just didn't like the way it sounded. You didn't get the sound of my receiver in there, and I just liked the way it sounded better. Going through the headphone output on the front of the receiver. Yeah, so I tried to do it, like I said, through the tape out, which is basically, it's just a straight signal out. It doesn't pick up any of the sound from the receiver into, what was it? It was like a $200 and something signal processor that's made for instruments and stereos. And it didn't matter what I did with that; it just didn't sound right. When I adjusted the sound, it sounded like it had a bad spot type of sound, that crackling. So I took that back, and I bought a mixer that's made for live streaming, but it's made more for like the folks that vlog and like to do the sound effects and all that shit. And it just didn't, again, the audio didn't sound great coming through it. So I went to Guitar Center, and the guy recommended this. He was like, most people get like the more expensive mixers, but he said this thing works better than most of that stuff. And I agree. I think it sounds pretty good. Yeah, Justin, what I was saying though is, so 7-inch records, where did I put it? 7-inch records just released. So it's 7inch.gr. They just released this one, Power of Inner Strength, and they also released Incorporated. So hopefully we also get Nemesis and Solidify. Sorry. So hopefully we also get like Nemesis and Solidify. I'm wondering why they did the first and fourth album. It's kind of really weird that they did that instead of adding the two middle albums as well. I'm wondering because I know Night of the Vinyl Dead did a copy, did one of those like 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm wondering if maybe they have the rights to it. It would be nice to see that though. Sadly, this one didn't get a whole lot of it didn't get a whole lot of love when it came out. Which was crazy because they were doing some nice tours and stuff. Even my local metal station that was playing a lot of groove metal and a lot of thrash at the time. That's where I found out that the Grip album was coming out, but I never once heard them play Grip Incorporated on their station, which was crazy. So let's see. Yeah, so this one came out in '95. And one of the guys from Grip Incorporated passed away now, too. Yeah, so the singer Gus Chambers passed away in 2008. I believe him and Dave were the only two that were on. Let me double check. Yeah, I believe they were the only ones that were on all of the Grip Incorporated albums and the. It says here there was an EP in 2015. I have never seen that though. I didn't even know that existed. So. Hey, 10 Cent. So this is Grip Incorporated. So this is from '95. This was Dave Lombardo's first band after he left Slayer. The first time he left Slayer, but fantastic album. A really good mix of thrash and groove. Yeah, no, Trevor. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely remember that time period. You know, but there were still. In Phoenix, where I grew up, there was still one metal station, and they were playing. I mean, they did play some alternative and stuff, but they were playing a lot of metal, and especially groove and thrash were always big there in Phoenix. You know, Megadeth was living there at the time. Sacred Reich is from Phoenix, so is Flotsam and Jetsam. So Phoenix was always a really good metal town. Hey. But yeah, it's sad that Grip Incorporated never got more love because, especially this album, this whole album is fantastic. And I mean, Dave Lombardo, I mean, this, you know, he was still at his peak in 1995. Yeah, there's places in Phoenix that are the same way. Man, there's a lot of clubs that were gone too, but like the Nile. The Nile still does shows. Now there's been 2 different Niles. Man, there's quite a few. I'm trying to think of some of the places I played. A lot of them are gone though. A lot of the big metal clubs, but there's a few that have always stuck true to it. Luckily, they're here in Georgia, where I live now in Atlanta. We get some decent stuff too. Hang on, let me flip sides on the record. I think what's sad now, though, is not that there's not good venues playing metal. Uh, the young bands just don't exist like they used to. When I was doing shows in 94, 95, 96, there were a lot of guys that were 17 to 25 that were in bands, and I never see that now. I go to a lot of shows, and it used to be the big name acts, would have at least one local band that was opening for them. And you would see some young guys, some really good talent, and you don't see that anymore. It's all guys that are our age, that are in their mid 30s to mid 40s, even higher, that are starting to play again, or that kept playing. There's actually a couple bands at least I know, Pelvic Meatloaf is still around, that have been around since the 90s, and they just never stopped playing. They don't play as much now as they did back then, but yeah, you just don't see the young bands like you used to, which is really sad. Hopefully we see that change. But even, if you think a lot of the new wave of traditional metal bands that are coming out, a lot of those guys are in their 30s. They're not young guys. Has anybody gone to see Testament recently with Lombardo on drums? I'm probably one of the few people that likes that album, Diabolos Musica. I was living in Japan at the time when that came out, and it's not as good as their earlier stuff, but like the last three albums on that, or the last three songs on that album are fantastic. I'm trying to think. I saw Slayer on that last tour that they did, their supposed final tour. I guess they're talking about touring again. That was with Testament and Anthrax, and that was fantastic. And again, Testament, that with Gene Hoglan on vocals or on drums, was amazing. That's the best. And I've seen Testament a few times. With Gene Hoglan was the best I ever heard them sound. And Anthrax were amazing. Slayer, it was cool seeing Slayer again, but it sucked seeing Slayer with only two original members, with only Kerry and Tom. The first time I saw Slayer was in 95 or 96. It was was it Undisputed Attitude, the covers album that they did? Is that right? Yeah, Undisputed Attitude. I saw him on the tour for that, which was cool. It was cool seeing him do like Richard Hung Himself and a couple of the other punk stuff that I really like. Oh, I know, man. All that stuff everything is getting old. I was just talking about that with somebody. We were watching, what was it? We were watching the first Ghostbusters, and I was telling my daughter, I remember standing in line, back then we didn't have big megaplexes with like five or six theaters in them. You had one theater, and you couldn't pre-order tickets or any of that stuff. You had to wait in line. And I was telling her we stood in line for something like 3 hours, like the second or third night to watch Ghostbusters. And she was like, "Wow, how long ago was that?" And I was like, "Holy crap, that was almost 40 years ago." And I remember it like it was yesterday. It's crazy when you start thinking about that. It's like It seems like I was just in the military yesterday, but I'm coming up on 20 years since I got out, which is, I mean, it just blows me away how fast the time goes. But you know, Trevor, I don't know. Were they calling it the new wave of American metal then? I don't remember them calling it that until years later. I don't remember hearing that until like 2005 or 2006. Maybe they were calling it at the time. I don't remember that. And what was funny about that is even though metal wasn't dominating the airwaves for a few years out, their alternative was. A lot of those alternative bands were pretty metal. I mean, you can say what you want about Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains has always had a doomy metal sound to them. But not just that, Megadeth never stopped being played on the radio. Pantera started in 1990, so before glam metal disappeared. I mean, there was Metallica. I mean, there was quite a lot of metal that was still on the radio throughout the 90s. You know, and even now, you know, here in Georgia, the metal station doesn't play very much metal, unfortunately. Yeah, and the cool thing about that time period was you had to actually go and buy the tickets. There was no using bots to buy up all the tickets before you get a chance and then having to pay. I paid for really good seats, but I just bought tickets a couple days ago for the Pantera show. It's going to be here in September. And man, it was probably $350 with taxes. However, I'm in like the fifth row. So, you know, I paid up a little bit for those seats, but I mean, the tickets have gotten crazy. Even since the pandemic, it's gone way up because I saw Judas Priest like a year before the pandemic, and I paid $80 for like 15th or 16th row, and I had real similar tickets. The next time I saw them, it was like $140 a ticket. So even since the pandemic, the prices have shot up. Yeah, dude, it's crazy the ticket prices. Luckily, there's still smaller venues like. When I saw Testament, Anthrax, and Slayer, it was a big venue, and I paid $100 and something bucks a ticket. However, when I saw them earlier this year, or last year, sorry, with the what do they call it? Return of the Bay or whatever it was with Death Angel and Exodus, it was like $45 a ticket. So. You know, it kind of goes back and forth. And I just went to a festival maybe a month and a half ago and saw Corrosion of Conformity and Pentagram and like 15 other doom and sludge bands, and it was fantastic. And that was like $50. You know, I don't really like going to arena shows, but you know, we're getting to that age now where. You know, a lot of my favorite bands members are dying. You know, so I'm trying to see them. You know, if I can, one last. Like I was really disappointed that the Scorpions didn't come here to Atlanta or anywhere near here that I could drive to, because I never got to see the Scorpions live. And there's a few bands like that you know the members have died. Manila Road. Unfortunately, I was supposed to go see Manila Road. I ended up having to go out of town. I don't remember if it was for work or a family thing, and I missed it. And like like a month and a half later, Mark Shelton was dead. You know, so I'll never get to see them live. So, you know, I've got the money now, but like I can't afford to pay. I don't want to pay $350 for a ticket, but I can afford it. So, you know, I'm trying to go to as many shows as I can. And like I said, especially these bands. I mean, Judas Priest, Halford's 70 years old, you know, he's not going to be doing shows a whole lot longer, and a lot of the bands are like that. And there's so many bands that unfortunately I missed out on. You know, one that really disappoints me is I went to the Lollapalooza that Soundgarden, Metallica co-headline, and my girlfriend at the time got super sick right before Soundgarden hit the stage. and we ended up having to leave. She was throwing up, so we had to take her. She had to get IV and all that stuff to get rehydrated. So we missed Soundgarden and Metallica. I never got to see Soundgarden again, and this was during their prime when they played that show. And I didn't see Metallica for almost 15 years after that, and I had never seen Metallica before either. So. And there's a lot of bands where, for one reason or another, I was going to see them, and something came up, So there's a lot of bands that I would just love to see. I mean, I just went and saw Alice in Chains a couple months ago, even though, I don't like them near as much without Lane Staley. Just the nostalgia of it, man. It was a blast. I don't think I have it right here. I actually caught one of Jerry Cantrell's picks. I'm not sure where it's at, but like I said, I caught one of Jerry Cantrell's picks, which was cool. So, let's see. Yeah, the Metallica ticket prices are getting crazy. It was really weird this last year. Hey, what's up, Aaron? How you doing, man? I finally got the setup going, so I'm trying to get it all dialed in and get everything going. We got a little bit of, I don't know if you've heard Grip Incorporated, but we got a little bit of Grip Incorporated playing in the background. This was Dave Lombardo's band when he first left Slayer back in the 90s. But yeah, Trevor, so it was really funny. I hadn't seen him in forever. And they hadn't played anywhere near here in Atlanta for quite some time. And I bought tickets to the Welcome to Rockville Festival. They were doing 2 nights. I actually bought the CDs of the show. So the first night was just a normal set. So that was November 12th, 2021. And then on Sunday, that was on Friday night, and then on Sunday they did the Black Album in full, which, funny, the main reason I wanted to go to the Black Album was to see Don't Tread on Me, because they've never done that one live, or they hadn't in like 20 years, and that was one of my favorite songs of theirs. Anyway, I bought the tickets for that, and then like 2 weeks later, they announced they were doing a show in Atlanta like 5 nights before. And because I'm a member of the vinyl club, we got to buy tickets before they went on sale to anybody else. So I ended up getting those tickets on the floor for like $85 a piece with the discount that I got through the vinyl club. So that was really cool. But I paid out my ass for that 4-day festival in Florida, and that was right at the end of so that, when did I say that was? November of 2021. So people were still really paranoid about the pandemic, and a lot of bands backed out at the last minute. So I think like 15 bands canceled their set before that 4-day show. So it got kind of shady too. Yeah, Nick, I was lucky enough to see Alice in Chains with Lane Staley. I mean, during that period, Alice in Chains was by far my favorite band. I played them nonstop. Actually, Mr. Bizarro, Aaron just did the Mad Season set a couple nights ago. And then, I don't know if you were on there, Aaron, but Patrick said he has an original pressing, like a mint original pressing of Mad Season. So I'm trying to work out a deal with him, because that's like my number one grail. I want that. I've got the reissue from a few years ago, from like 2012, and it sounds good, but I want that original with the full-size artwork on it. Yeah, I just got the thing about that the other day, and I guess they announced that they're not going to do one next year, which kind of sucks. I have like most of the Vinyl Club stuff. I'm waiting on a replacement for this one, the Live at Bridge School benefit. Mine came with a big old, I don't know if you can see it, it came with a a big old seam split across the top of it. So they're sending me a replacement for this one. I haven't even opened it and listened to it yet, though. So, Aaron, the one that you were at, was it that one? There was one where they did Temple of the Dog on the side stage. Did you go to that one? Because Alice in Chains and those guys were at a couple of them. The one that I was at, they didn't do that. Yeah, no, so I told him, he's like, what are they going for? He's like, oh, they're going for like $400 now in good condition. He was like, I'll sell it to you for $400. I was like, dude, I can't. I'm not paying $400. I love that album, but not $400 for that album. He's like, well, maybe $200. I was like, you know what? Message me and we'll work something out. That's, like I said, that's probably one of my 10 favorite records of all time. I play that thing all the time. I've got this thing gets pulled out all the time and this one's cool because it's got the live at the Moore Theater. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, Trevor. But yeah, if you guys don't have this, it's a deluxe that came out a few years ago. It's got Above, it's got Live at the Moore Theater, which is a fantastic show. I've got that one on vinyl too. And then it's got the DVD of the set from Live at the Moore Theater, and man, it's fantastic. It doesn't get a whole lot better than this. This is one of the hardest to, people ask me when I talk about this. It's Alice in Chains, but it's got like this 70s sound, the 70s guitar sound. And it really, this is one of the best albums of the 90s. Yeah, and the cool thing about the Moore show too is a few of the songs are slightly different. There's one song that I can think of off the top of my head where they speed it up a little bit. There's one where they slow it down a little bit. I don't know if the Moore is what it was. So the last time I went to the Moore Theater, I was up at NAS Woodby Island and Oak Harbor on the opposite side of the Sound there, and we went down to the Moore Theater to see Super Suckers, I want to say, and they were still, bands like the Melvins and Soundgarden would still pop up and do shows there. This was 97. It was a really cool time. The Phoenix Underground was still there, where a lot of those bands originally played, and they would pop in. During that time, you would be in the bars and the clubs and stuff, and Tim Theo would walk in. It was a real cool time to be in Seattle in the 90s. Yeah, I was in the Navy for 9 years. I blew out my ankles and I was medically retired. But I didn't spend that long there. I was only there for about 9 months. And then I ended up going to Japan, and I spent the rest of my career in Japan. So I think I was there from like February to I want to say like February to October of 97. And then I was in Japan from 97 until late 2005.
Including Detroit, Washington, and Los Angeles, where when blacks move in, whites move out.
But yeah, Aaron, man, all of those Lollapaloozas from that period were fantastic. Even some of the later ones. One of the later ones I remember going to, like Hole, Susie and the Banshees. I can't remember if it was Body Count or Ice-T. They were still bringing in some really cool bands. But yeah, that maybe 92 to 98 was just amazing. the shows that they were bringing through. Even the second stage bands, like I remember seeing like Bouncing Souls and just really some really good bands on the side stage too. Yeah, I've got one friend. He used to do videos, but he works over on the sub bass. What's the name? Is it Banger? The sub bass. That's actually where they checked me out. So I was there for a couple months. My wife hated it there. We had some friends that were in Woodby, and she stayed with them while I was checking out. I had to be there every morning and check in at like 7 o'clock, and then I had to be back at like 5 every day to check out for the day. So then from 5, I would take one of the barges across the Woodby Island every day. It kind of sucked going back and forth. That's a cool area to live, though. My wife didn't like it. She didn't like Woodby Island doesn't get the rain like Seattle does. It gets that mist that's just always there. Yeah, dude, Deception Pass is amazing. There's some the crab and the fishing and stuff used to be good there back in the day. It's not as good now. Hang on, let me see. What are we gonna put on next? Let me change this out real quick. And I'm hit or miss with Dinosaur Jr. era, man. They've got some albums that I absolutely love. But, man, I have like 10 of their albums. I ended up selling like 7 of them. There's a few that I really, really like. Most of them just, I don't know. I like them when they came out, but when I go back and listen to them, they don't do much for me at this point. But I did go through a real heavy Dinosaur Jr. Thing for a while. Let's see. This is one of my favorite new wave of British heavy metal albums. It's a band called Ritual, and it's their band Widow. I believe it was 1981. This is fantastic, though. I'm sorry, 1983. This is a High Roller reissue. It also comes with their 81 EP on 7. I think Beyond is probably my favorite album of theirs. I still go to that one pretty regularly. Actually, that period, that Farm, I like quite a bit. Some of their 80s stuff was pretty good too. Yeah, this man here almost has like a Danzig sound to his voice, like a decade before the first Danzig album. A little doomier though. I want to say the band formed in like 77 or 78, if I remember correctly. And they were pretty big in the British scene, from what I understand. They just didn't get a record label because doom just wasn't a thing yet, you know. What's funny about Jay Mascis, though, is I've always liked his side projects more than I like the Dinosaur Jr. stuff. Have you guys heard the Witch albums that he did? Man, those things are so good. Especially the first one. I still pull those out all the time and listen to them. But a lot of his side projects I've really liked even more than Dinosaur Jr. Lou Barlow, too, his first solo album is fantastic. I have a signed copy of that up in the collection there. They did I don't remember what label did. They did a pressing of like 500. He signed all of them. I remember that split. I never bought it though. I like Earthless too for some reason. You know, it's one of those bands that I really like, but I never think about them when I'm in the record store. I need to grab their stuff that's on vinyl. But yeah, if you haven't checked them out yet, Aaron, check out those Witch albums. They're both fantastic. Yeah, Bug was great. Bug was I think that's the album that got me into Dinosaur Jr. originally. I want to say that's their first album that I heard. There's a link if anybody wants to come up in here. guys have kind of an interesting sound because it's actually the bass that's driving the sound instead of the guitar, and the guitar's just kind of soloing over it. Oh yeah, I'm definitely down, Aaron. Especially now that I kind of got this thing figured out. Oh wow, Philadelphia's murdering the 49ers. I wasn't expecting that. For murder, like 31-7. That's insane. What do you guys have for the Bengals? Yeah, it sucks, man. I'm a Saints fan, and the Saints gave up like half their good players to Philadelphia and all their draft picks. It makes no sense that the moves that the Saints made in the offseason, man. I think they have like the first and one of the second round picks for the Saints next year, and they took like three of our better players. Yeah, I would like to see the Bengals win. We'll see. We'll see if Mahomes is still injured or not. They say he's good to go, but never know. The only downside of this album is it doesn't get a whole lot. This is about as fast as it gets. Just slow and heavy. I'm going to call it after this song, guys. I just want to get a good test going. It sounds like it worked out pretty good.
Just come back, give it a try. Just come back and try.
Yeah, no worries, Trevor. I'll definitely be doing it again. I've already talked to Scott. Me and Scott Waters are going to do a thrash night, and we'll invite people up. So we'll go ahead and call it a night. Man, thanks, everybody. Thanks for chiming in. I hope you guys have a good one, man. Goodbye, guys.